Hello and welcome to another Let's Talk IP. Today I'm chatting with Gerhard from JJT Accounting and Auditors. But as usual, he'll introduce himself.
Or I'll try to.
You'll try to.
Gerhard Jacobs, JJT. JJT has been in existence for almost 9 years now. And we do accounting and auditing for small to medium-sized entities. And today we're talking about how does the value of your IP affect your business in general, or the financial status of your business.
Yes, which is a very interesting and important topic because a lot of business owners like me and you know, and we work, or the two firms work together on quite a lot of transactions and matters. But a lot of business owners don't understand what intellectual property actually can add to your business in the sense of value. And not only value in the sense of, okay, well, it makes your business value in itself more, but it has a potential income stream, generate revenue through licensing, through various other aspects. And that's the one thing where we try and educate our clients as well as where you try and educate your clients.
Well, think of this, Christiaan, if you take a lot of the franchises.
Yes.
Most of your franchises and let's call it famous brands and the Spur Group, those kind of people, they have trademarks registered.
Yes.
And that's one of the main selling points to a franchise, is that you've got this brand you belong to.
Yeah.
And if it's not trademarked, what does it mean for them?
Yeah. At the end of the day, and we do a lot of franchise work, I always tell my franchise clients that remember, your franchise agreement is in essence a very complex trademark license agreement. You're giving somebody the right to trade under your name with a set rule principle and set a lot of other things surrounding that. But at the core it is, I'm giving you the right as a franchisee to use my brand, which I protected, which is an important part, and trade in your own shop, but as part of my brand. And you have my reputation, and you have my support, and you have my name, and basically my marketing initiatives count towards you. And that's also why the franchise is so valuable if you choose the right one. But choosing the right one is
that's
the difficult thing.
Yeah, that's the difficult thing. But also, if you take, a lot of people, I'm sure, have heard of this definition, or this item we talk about, goodwill.
Yes.
What is goodwill? Okay. And with a goodwill part, I mean, goodwill can mean brand goodwill. Think of this, if you're, let's call it wimpy.
Yes.
If you buy a wimpy as an example, people already know the name. And that's a goodwill item.
Yeah.
That's absolutely a goodwill item. You expect customers to walk in immediately because they associate your shop, your restaurant with Wimpy immediately. And there is brand loyalty.
Yes, there is.
Absolutely.
And it comes back to that reputation aspect. Goodwill, part of goodwill is reputation.
Yes.
People trust the name, therefore they would automatically trust the brand new shop that opens. And that's not only relevant to franchises. Yes, a franchise is a very good example to use, but it's to any business, irrespective of what industry you're in, what goods you sell. The moment you have intellectual property, be that trademarks, copyright, patents, design, any of the other substrata of intellectual property, if it's correctly protected, which is essential, because if you don't protect it, you can't enforce it. And if you can't enforce it, technically, and you will confirm this probably, if I can't enforce it, I can't add a financial value to it because other people can use it. And if other people can use it, how can you get benefit out of it financially in your business? But all of that aspects come into play with every single business owner.
Yes.
And that's why we always tell our clients, listen, you need to talk to people that understand this. People that understand intellectual property, like us. People that understand financial aspects, structuring of businesses, like you. And a team that has the ability to know this intellectual property is protected, and this is how it adds value to your business, and this is how we do it, how we make it work together to up your business from your stock at hand and things like that
That's it.
to your stock at hand plus your IP value, which
Yes.
includes goodwill.
Yes, exactly. And if you take your balance sheet, and I've seen over the years, I've seen many times people not include a trademark or a patent or goodwill even into the balance sheet of your financial statements. And at the end of the day, depending on what your growth projection or what even your 5-year plan or your 5-year goal, 10-year goal, whatever that is, it affects then your valuation. If you say you're going to sell your business in 5 years, but in year one you did your trademark and you did a patent, but from that date you've not added that to your balance sheet in actual fact, that will affect the sales price in
Yes.
on your 5-year date, if I can put it that way. So
Yeah.
people don't understand and don't always realize how important it is to add that trademark
Yes.
or that patent into your balance sheet.
And what I've also seen when you say people don't understand, in my experience, that includes auditors and accountants.
Absolutely.
And I'm not dissing anybody's skills, but understanding how to value and how to basically estimate the value and how to write that intellectual property into your balance sheet is a skill. And you can't, as an auditor, just do it yourself. Again, this is why we work so well together and the two firms work often, because you need somebody that understands intellectual property,
Yes.
that knows, okay, well, this is intellectual property, this is how we can value it, and this is how we can evaluate it, and then somebody understands the financial implications of that. And it's not every person, not every attorney is an IP attorney, and not every auditor and accountant is versed in intellectual property valuations.
You see, the other thing is, it is also a very difficult thing to do.
Yes, that is.
Okay. As an example, we've got clients we've worked with since 92, where they started with manufacturing of products. And they've been growing so much that they might have interest from other global companies that wants to buy their business, okay? But now we look at, they started their trademark registrations in the 90s, and they've been growing and they've been excelling in terms of product quality, and that's what actually now gets the interest from
Yes.
the bigger global companies. But now we need to go and say, okay, do we value the growth or the valuation, the expected sales price, or the a fair market value on this business based on the date they registered the trademark, the date they registered patents? I mean, it's been what, 20, almost 30 years now.
Yes. And the patent has since lapsed. But the
Exactly.
patent's goodwill falls to the trademark.
Exactly. So, and that's where people don't understand it. The other thing is, what we always need to realize as well is, if you've built a brand, although we can always put a fair market value to it, the actual definition of a market valuation is what a willing buyer is willing
Yes.
to pay a willing seller. And if the value, let's say I come up with the value of 1,000 Rand to this trademark, but if someone is willing to pay 100 million for it, it
Then
doesn't.
that's the fair value.
That's the fair value. It doesn't matter what I valued it at. But the important thing is that if a purchase like that would occur, there is a method we need to put that into the balance sheet of the books.
Yes.
Because let's say it's a holding company that bought that company, it does affect their return on investment as well. And at the end of the day, a business is all about, what do the stakeholders get from it at the best interest of the stakeholders, and to start off with, that's the shareholders.
Yeah.
If there's no return on investment, is it a good business or not?
No. It's
So
not.
exactly.
No, and the thing about that, and you used estimated values, thumb-sucked a few
Yeah.
numbers. What a lot of companies and business owners don't realize is on that point of valuation, it's a fair market value. There's methods how to determine fair market value. You look at competitors, you look at sales figures, you look at growth over time, you look at
Absolutely.
is there offer or not. You look at has something recently been sold in the same industry with the same reputation. There's a lot of aspects which you guys look at.
Yes.
We obviously establish is the IP in place, what IP there is, give the IP portfolio, establish how long certain IP might still exist, like patents and designs that has specific timeframes to it. Trademarks that don't have an end as long as you continue to renew it up on their anniversaries.
Yeah.
And then also determine, take for instance, I've got a trademark, now I've got a patent. The patent is what's the product that has patented sells.
Yeah.
And people want to buy the product for 20 years, that's my patent life cycle. But the name, people don't buy a product and say, I want patent number XYZ. They want that name,
Yes.
the trademark. When the patent lapses, everybody else can start making similar, identical products because there's no patent protection anymore.
Yes.
But you will buy the name. You buy the original. You buy the authentic because that's the name. That's the one we trust. That's the one that has been going for 20, 30, 40 years.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
all that value pops to the trademark.
Yes.
And you need to understand that. And then, yes, you thumb-sucked thousands and 100 million. Trademarks at the end of the day can be the most valuable asset in your business. Look at your massive international companies. Look at Tesla, Coke, Apple. You can name a list. Even
Yeah.
some of the South African companies, SAB, those guys that are quite high on the international rankings in brand value. Their value is majority of their business in their brand. Not their IP in general, in the brand,
Yeah.
in the trademark portfolio and the goodwill associated with that.
Yes, absolutely.
Because people buy brands. You walk into a shop and you buy that box and this thing and that name and that logo and this color. You don't you don't go and look for this description. You buy what you know.
What you know. Absolutely.
Imagine you walk into a shop and everything was just one color and you need to figure out what porridge do I need to get? Everything is one color.
Color, yeah.
It won't work. And that is what companies don't understand always is your brand is your most valuable asset because people buy your stuff, use your services because they know your name and they associate what you do with your name.
But then the question comes up, Christiaan, is when do you need to register your trademark? When is the best time to register your trademark?
You know the answer. I always say before everything else. When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the second the best time? Now.
Absolutely.
And the reason we say that is obviously firstly you're building your brand. You're investing, especially as a startup, effort and time and money. And I mean, we work with a lot of new companies, startups.
Yes.
The amount of capital they need to invest in this company.
Yeah.
And like I said, invest in the brand at the end of the day is so immense to make this business a success.
Yes.
If I then come to you and say, oh, by the way, you as a Mr. New Startup, 10 years down the line, you must now change your name because I've got a client with a trademark registered and your name is infringing their trademark because a company name don't give you a monopoly.
Yes.
Only a trademark
Trademark.
registration does, and that is
Yes.
very important.
Yes.
Now you have to redo your marketing, rebrand, explain to your clients what's going on. Most of your clients won't understand the concept. Most of your clients will think the company with the trademark is you, and all of a sudden your clients move to them because that's the name. People
Yes.
trust the name.
But think about this as well, and you know my view around marketing, if we can put it that way.
Yes.
You've got two avenues of marketing. You call it visibility marketing, and you
Yes.
call it referral marketing to actually grow your business, call it immediately
Yes.
or in the short term. But that brand, that you've always got that expense against that visibility part of it. I mean, and you mentioned them, call it Coca-Cola, they've been doing TV ads for many and many
Yeah.
years. Okay, that was not to gain immediate customers.
No.
That was actually in the brand building part of their business, that visibility marketing, spending that ongoing marketing so they can build a brand. Because the moment you think about cola, you think Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
That's it.
And there's different strategies company use. Coca-Cola, I mean, that's a brilliant strategy. They've got a very unique marketing strategy and it gets updated constantly. And then in contrast, you look at a company also in the beverage industry, but like Red Bull. They've got a completely different marketing strategy. But the moment you think Red Bull, you automatically think of something else.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of money and they continue to spend a lot of money on sponsorships and things like that
Yes.
to build this narrative into their brand so that people, I want to drink Red Bull because of X, or want to
Yeah.
drink Coca-Cola because of Y. And they speak to their customers. And like you say, it's not an overnight thing. It's a constant, ongoing, long-term investment in brand visibility.
Yes.
And because you do work on that, people trust you. And that's where the second arm comes, the referral.
Yes.
Let's go get a Coke. Yes, okay, cool. But you trusted, I trusted because of the first arm.
Yeah.
And those two things are not mutually exclusive. You need to do both.
Yeah.
In different scenarios and different strategies, depending on your company. But if you don't market, nothing happens. The people don't know about you. However you market. But what do you market? Again, your brand.
Your brand.
And if
The,
you-
the
yeah.
value needs to be added to the brand.
Yes, and the brand needs to be protected, and that's, and I know I mentioned it briefly, but the thing is, and you would know if you do evaluation, and I know we did one last year sometime where
Yes.
there was a acquisition of a company, and we won't name the company,
Yeah.
where a client of ours bought a company. Third-party auditor gave a financial value. We looked at the books. They said X amount for the intellectual property. We checked the intellectual property. 0 of it was registered. Therefore, 0 on the intellectual property because
Absolutely.
I'm buying the brand. I'm buying the reputation. I'm buying the fact that people want to buy your name, your products under your name. Now you tell me that I'm buying something that's not protected. So anybody else can jump on a bandwagon and just infringe you, and I don't really... Yes, I've got passing off action, but you don't want to rely on passing off. Me and you know it out of
Yeah,
experience. You want to have a registered right.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, all we did is, thank you. What is the stock in hand? That is the value at which the company is sold. And it was bought at that value.
Look, there's always, for us, prescribed methods to use in
Yes.
evaluation situation. Psycho, which is one of our governing bodies, actually says there's 3 methods that we should use. But the important thing to remember is that we need to apply our knowledge in saying, okay, if there's been no turnover in the company,
Yes.
we can't use the future profit
No, you
method
can't.
necessarily because you've got nothing to work from as a base or historical. The IP then gets valued in terms of a net asset value, and there you can bring a part of what is your expected future
Yes.
sales from that.
Now, why would people buy this? Because they trust it.
The other thing is what a lot of business owners do is they work for themselves. They might take a lower salary or a higher salary. So when we look at valuations, there's a lot of what we call normalization of expenses we need to do. And a lot of people don't understand that
They
part
just
as
look
well.
at the papers and they use
They
that.
think, no, we'll take the balance sheet and we'll say, that's net asset value and that's what we go with. But there's so many other factors that play a role. And even if someone didn't include an IP value, a goodwill value, you always need to think of the future goodwill value.
Yes.
That's important because you don't register a trademark and then you immediately sell the business.
No, you don't. You first need... Because then you can sell it at a value that the trademark cost.
Exactly.
You need to establish this brand goodwill. And that takes time.
Absolutely.
Depending
It
on
takes
what... Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's decades.
Yeah.
And then people buy it. They buy that. And a lot of times, the only thing that people are actually want to buy is the
the
brand
brand.
and the goodwill.
Is
They
the name,
buy
yeah.
the business, sell off everything, but they just want to use the name. They want to be able to continue trading under this name.
Yes.
And competitors do that often. I mean, mergers and acquisitions between competitors is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's a business asset. And I mean, the reason we focus on this is if you don't think of that, and again, why I say a trade, when do you register your trademark? When do you register your intellectual property in general? Right away.
Right away, yeah.
Is if you don't think of that in the beginning, every year, every moment you wait, you run the risk of infringement, which you
Yes.
cannot enforce against. You run the risk of somebody leaning on your reputation,
Yes.
hijacking your name, hijacking your brand, hijacking your clients. And you run the risk that your value, and at the end of the day, irrespective of who says what, you're in business to make money. You're going to make less money.
Absolutely, you're going to.
And
But you miss out on that opportunity.
yes, that's the thing. You're missing the opportunity. Plus, the license. No, we said in the beginning the licensability. A lot of clients we've got, their main income in their business is licensing out their intellectual property to third parties. Again, if it's not registered, why license it? Because then the guy can just use it without you being able to do anything about it.
And you've already done so much
Yeah, you
to build a
developed
brand.
everything, yeah.
They get stuff for free.
Yeah.
They get that value for free.
Yes, and it's a difficult thing, and I mean, you know that the 5 reasons why you must get your trademark before everything else, and I won't mention it here, but all of those things. The first thing on that list is it adds value to your business, and that's actually the main thing you need to remember is it gives you that value with everything we discussed here, and again, it's so important, and I'm sure people would realize this, why you need to talk and partner with and deal with people knowledged in this industry, people that know how to value intellectual property, what the value of intellectual property is, aside from the financial value, but the asset value, the things we just discussed, and then how to make it work for your company. Because at the end of the day, you also don't want to register a patent for every single idea you get, because what you need to be able to implement it in commercial asset value.
Yes.
So you need to work with experts.
You
the
need
thing.
to assess the actual viability.
Yes.
You know, especially the last year, you know, I've spoken about ideas and possibilities,
Yes.
and we've run certain scenarios to determine, is this product or is this idea a client has, is it actually viable?
Yes.
Listen, yeah, sometimes we might be wrong.
Yeah,
but
because
I think
it's
our
still an estimate,
experience, but our
still,
experience actually gives us call it a 90%
Yeah.
guideline on yes or no, because we need to assist clients in actually saving them from themselves sometimes.
And it's difficult to say it sometimes to a client that says, he sits you with this idea, and then you go through the numbers, and you're like, okay, but you know, protecting the patent cost X. You cannot sell this product for more than Y. So the amount of product of individual goods you need to sell under this patent to just cover your costs will exceed the life cycle of the patent.
Yeah.
Then focus on other intellectual property. Build the brand and do that, because you need to make profit.
Yes.
And is it a viable product? Yes, but is it a viable product under X, Y, and Z protection aspects? Remember, trademark is always viable. It's always essential. It's not a question of anything else but when. But a patent and a design and those aspects are viability is essential. You need to make sure that if I spend this amount of money on a patent, I am going to get it back.
But
or
if
not.
it's a patentable item,
That's
the other thing.
that's the other thing, and I think that's a discussion for a different day. But briefly, it needs to be patented and patentable under a certain set of rules and regulations. It needs to be protectable under design law instead of in terms of a certain set of rules and regulations. Trademarks, copyright, all intellectual property is like that. And again, we know how to assess it, and we advise our clients on that. So ask. That's at the end of
That's
the
the
day,
most
I think that's the
important
most
part.
important thing.
Ask.
Not Google or Bing or any of the other search engines,
Search engines, yeah.
but ask somebody that knows this, somebody that works with it, somebody that has the experience and the knowledge and understanding of this to advise you accurately, and not just. And I'll say this again, and I think we'll sort of end it on that.
Yes.
Not every attorney is intellectual a property attorney. Not every accountant and auditor is a valuator, if I can put it like that, is versed in that. Make sure you get somebody experienced in that specific aspect. And I mean, a doctor is a very good, you don't go to eye doctor to get brain surgery.
Exactly, yeah.
They're both doctors,
Yeah, yeah.
but you know the difference.
Yeah.
Our industries are exactly the same. There's
Exactly.
experts in fields, and it's important for the public and for clients to realize that there's certain experts. There's few things I don't know. Criminal law, I don't touch it. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I also don't like criminal law. Yeah.
And the same with you.
Yeah.
There's areas of expertise, and just make sure you deal with the correct people. And I remember we had this discussion with some of our Afrikaans friends. And what was it? Goedkoop koop is duur koop.
Dierkoop, yes.
And that is an essential thing to remember. Just
Absolutely.
rather than saving a few bucks to ask somebody that might know, just do it properly.
But the other thing is, sometimes you think of when you want to start this idea or start building this brand, you think these expenses are, what's the word I'm looking for?
Grudge.
Grudge purchases.
Grudge purchase.
You need to realize that those grudge purchases are the actual things that are going to save you down the line.
It's like insurance.
Absolutely.
If you're buying a Ferrari, you insure it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Not because you know you're going to hit the wall. You're not going to take the Ferrari and drive into the wall. You're scared that the taxi drives into you. And this is the same with intellectual property and proper asset management and stuff like that. You do it because somewhere down the line you might wish you did.
Yes.
And when the proverbial pawpaw hits the fan, it's too late.
That's the problem. And then you can't backtrack
No, you
anymore.
can't. It's too late when you need it and you didn't have it. Rather have it and don't need it than need it and don't have it.
Yeah.
No. Well, I know me and you can talk for hours on this. Maybe we'll have a part 2 sometime.
We'll have a part 2 sometime.
We will.
There's other stuff we still need to talk
and
about, so we'll have a
if
part
there's
2.
specific questions or specific topics, people are welcome to comment and say, what about this? What about that? Or phone JJT. Details obviously will be below. Not, you know how it works.
Yeah.
Same with us. People would, if you have intellectual property questions, queries, contact us.
And I'd really, I'd really actually advise people to talk to the intellectual property guy first before you start manufacturing stuff.
Yes, because how many times have we seen people manufacturing and starting a business not knowing they are actually infringing somebody else?
Yes.
So make sure you don't infringe before you start. And again, that's it. That's that's a good point.
Christiaan, thank you very much for having me
today.
Thank you
for joining me in the couch.
Absolutely, lovely couch. Is that you say this is the peach couch?
This is similar to the peach couch.
Okay.
I couldn't steal Peach's couch. He stopped me. Tried. And for people that don't know, just check Klein Creatives. There's links, and you'll see it on social media where Peach actually sits and talks to creatives.
Fantastic.
On a similar couch.
Fantastic.
And yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank
See you
you
again.
Will do.